darlings, how are you? So I'm back with part 2 and we're gonna get into it. So part 2 of this live is why some men marry women they don't love, part 2. So we've already done part 1. We've already discussed the background to marriage, what marriage means. Hello everybody, hello, welcome. So we've already discussed the background to marriage, why it's there. And I'm just going to quickly address some of the comments that I've received. Hello, my darlings. That I have received on YouTube and on here. Okay. I had some of the church girls be very, worried and flustered because, Songs of Solomon is very romantic. And didn't Jacob love Rachel? Okay, what we obviously need to learn, what I love about my SWAN community is that we're grown women, right? Birds of a feather flock together. Okay, Black Swans are mature women. We're grown out here. Okay, we're not only mature, but we're very intelligent. Can I get an amen? Yes, we're intelligent women, we're feminine women, we're high value women, we're amazing. Okay, so when I am speaking to you, thank you, darling. So when I am speaking to you, I am speaking to intelligent, mature women. And part of being intelligent and mature is hearing what I'm saying and not trying to hear what I'm not saying. Okay. When I talk about marriage was for utility, for lifestyle, for convenience, for all these things that we've already discussed, I am not saying that. What I'm not saying is that minus love, minus romance, I'm saying the foundation of the institution of marriage was always for utility, okay? It had a purpose beyond being in love, beyond being romantic. And as a result, because the foundation doesn't require romance and passion and love, it can survive, thrive, reproduce, and fulfill the purpose of marriage without love or romance, okay? But I'm not saying you're not entitled to it. Thank you so much. I am not saying you're not entitled or that you don't deserve or that men are incapable of love, okay? None of that is being said. So let's use our SWAN brains, okay, my darlings, and just focus on what I am saying. And if we're not clear, let's ask questions, because that's what intelligent people do. So I can't possibly kind of think about the questions you will have. So that's why we come on live, and that's why we got a comment section. Ask questions so that I can enlighten you and broaden the conversation to the depth and to the heights of my knowledge and understanding. If I don't have the answer, I'm going to find it for you or point you in the direction that you can get it. But we're not, going to get our knickers in a twist, okay? We're not going to get our panties all in a twist because I said something that doesn't sit well emotionally with you. Because part of being mature is understanding that the world doesn't revolve around your ideas, your concepts, your perception of it, okay? The world is its own entity, it's its own system, it's its own climate. It exists outside of you, okay? And it will run by its own laws. I'm here to teach you the laws that will allow you to be in harmony. Thank you. That will teach you to be in harmony with your world, right? To teach you to be in harmony with your surroundings, okay? So that you can thrive, all right? You don't have to like what I have to say, but you definitely, if you are here, if you are watching, it means there's something inside of you that resonates with something here, okay? So I'm here to equip you and to love on you and to pour my love onto you and help us, men and women, do better, okay? Because I love love. I'm in love with love. I'm in love. I am a hopeful romantic. I'm terrible. I love romance. I'll fight for romance any day, but I'm mature. I am also mature, and I understand that everything has a purpose. And if you use something outside of its purpose, if you try to take something that is designed for a purpose and use it for something else, it's called perversion. Okay? And then you're going to get disappointed. So we've already laid the foundations, my darlings. Okay? We've laid the foundation of purpose, why marriage exists. And now we're going to follow on, because I know some of you are really interested in the follow on and I don't want to keep talking. So the part 2 is, what kind of women do men marry? Okay. Now, what I don't want to hear, okay, because somebody's going to say it. What I don't want to hear is, yeah, but I'm generalizing. I'm talking about general principles, okay? Of course, each man will have a nuance to him. Each man will have a little something. And on the other side of the bell curve, they're outliers. They're men that are going to choose a woman who's exactly opposite to what I'm going to tell you. Okay, but these are outliers, the exceptions. Exceptions do not disprove the rule, okay? Chances of you dating the exception are very, very, very slim. Okay, so we're talking in terms of, in general, okay? In general. All right, so let's get going on that, my darlings. Because I want to give you time to ask your questions before I go on to my next meeting. Today's a meeting day. So number one, let's just understand something, that men will ultimately choose to marry the woman that is easiest. Okay? I'm going to explain that. Easiest, not in terms necessarily of easy, no standards, no boundaries, okay? Men do want to challenge, they want a woman with standards, and we're going to talk about all of these things, but ultimately inviting you into his life, because men, okay, are the ones recruiting women for their lives. All right? Okay. And I'm going to say some things that might trigger you, but I don't have time to explain it. Ask a question after, and maybe we'll do a video or we will continue. This is why I am creating House of Swans, because I want a community where we can have ongoing conversations. All right. So keep your eye out for the brand new community in November called House of Swans, where we will be having ongoing conversations. Okay. So what I mean by easy is he wants somebody that fits into the certain protocols that I'm going to be sharing with you in just a minute. Somebody who slots in neatly. For those of you who don't already know, men under the age of 45, men who are not in andropause, men who are still moving with high levels of testosterone, who haven't yet gone through andropause, which is a change of life. Just like women go through menopause, men go through andropause. When men are in peri-andropause or andropause, Penny Beauty, Penny says House of Swans, I can't wait to join, yay. Their body, their hormones change, and their testosterone goes down and their progesterone goes up, and their bodies start to want intimacy and closeness. So in that stage of their lives, they really start to choose more for emotional reasons. But before they reach that, they choose for practical reasons. Now, I'm going to say something that may trigger some of us, but I want us to, for a minute, if possible, for those of us who are Black Swans, because if you're a Black Swan, you're going to be good with what I'm going to say. Step into a man's shoes for a minute, okay? And I want you to imagine that nothing in the world is given to you. Like nothing. You don't step out of your home and receive compliments. You don't step up out of your home and somebody just wants to bless you. Somebody just wants to be good to you, okay? Everything a man has, everything he acquires, he has to work for it. He has to prove himself for it. He's got to fight for it. Men and women both work. I work very hard. I'm one of the women I know who works very hard. There are a lot of women who work very hard. I work very hard. But I will never work as hard as a man works. Because I have something that a man doesn't have. I have my sexuality. I am a woman and I can get things done a little bit easier. So I'll give you an example. I'm kind of traveling. Everybody knows I'm traveling. And I happened to be in a sort of familiar area at the moment. I was just touching down to do some business stuff and then I'm going to leave again. And I needed a car for this part of the world that I'm in. And so I go to my the local car dealership. They're kind of mates of mine. I bought a car from them before. And I kind of swanned in, as I do, okay? And I was like, Jamie, I need a car for the weekend. Do you have a car that you can lend me? And Jamie was like, of course, Chengi, come with me. You know, they have luxury, beautiful cars. And no questions asked, no paperwork, nothing, okay? Jamie got a key, spoke, Chengi needs a car for the weekend, just check its levels, let her have it. I had a car this weekend that I didn't buy, that I didn't rent, that I didn't sign for, okay? Now, fair enough, I am Mama Swan and I know how to flirt my way through life, okay? And if you're a Black Swan, you're going to learn to do that if you join the community. Okay, you're going to learn how to use that feminine energy to get whatever you want. I get a lot of things done by just being a girl. And many of us get things done by being girls without even knowing that they're being done because we're girls, okay? We just assume we're working hard and we're doing these things. And I don't want to undermine hard work because I work very hard, too hard sometimes, okay? But I do know that part of why I work so hard is because of my moral code and my virtues and values as a person, and my stoic beliefs about life. But I could definitely work half as hard if I was prepared to sexualize myself. That men can't do that. There's no way a man could have gone to the local car dealership and said, hey, I need a car for the weekend. And they would have been like, yeah, cool. He'd have had to be a family member or a long-standing friend or somebody. Our lives are different. And so when we're looking at men, sometimes we have no empathy. We cannot understand why they're coming from the place that they're coming from. We just think they're lazy or whatever, okay? And there's some lazy men out here, okay? I don't want to gaslight you ladies because I know there's some weirdos, crazy, feminine, weirdo guys out here. And too many to count. But a marriage-ready guy, we're going to assume we're talking about a man that is worthy of a Black Swan, okay? A man that a Black Swan has assessed, vetted, selected, and assessed, and then qualified to be a husband. This is the man that we're talking about. This man didn't get anything easy. So he wants to create a world around himself that brings and creates ease. Okay, he's going to prioritize that because the moment he steps out into the world, there's no ease for him. There's no one's giving him nothing. It's a war zone for men, okay? We can talk ourselves out of parking tickets. We can talk ourselves out of, I mean, if do you understand? I think I've labored this point sufficiently. So what is easy? What is the ease this high quality, high caliber man is looking for? Well, first and foremost, he's got to be marriage ready. This is something that we don't always appreciate as women. Not every man is marriage ready, okay? Marriage ready being he's done with the streets, okay? He's done with the streets. He's ready to build his legacy. He's ready to extend his posterity. Not only that, but he is capable of taking care of himself to a particular level and provide for himself a particular lifestyle. This is the level and the lifestyle that he's choosing to create for himself. There's a gentleman in the comments and he's looking for a good woman right now. Do I do matchmaking? It's so funny because I will be doing it, but not at the moment. But not at the moment. But ladies, there's a gentleman in the comments who's looking for a good woman. But I promise you, when I am doing matchmaking, you will be the first to know. Maybe next year, who knows? So he's creating this lifestyle for himself, and what he's doing is he is inviting you, me, the woman that he wants or thinks he can have, which is sad, which is why many of them don't marry the woman they want, because they don't men were not taught by fathers or even mothers that a man must first build a relationship with himself that is healthy. He must deal with his trauma, deal with his suffering, deal with his past, deal with his stories, deal with his narrative, be healthy. Then create a healthy environment for himself. And then provide for himself. And then expand himself to be able to provide for himself to a certain lifestyle. Then when he has provided for himself that lifestyle, to extend himself to be able to invite somebody into that, because he can provide for another person and another person. This is the journey that men are supposed to go through, okay? A lot of men have been raised like women. As women, we are not taught to provide for ourselves a lifestyle that we will invite a man into, okay? Because we are invited into a man's life, okay? So when we are taught to provide for ourselves, it's for our own protection, so we don't rely on a man, so we don't end up being a victim, so we don't These are the reasons we are taught to provide for ourselves. But we're not taught to provide for ourselves, to heal ourselves and all these things, because we're going to be responsible and take on responsibility for a man and children, okay? That's not how we're taught. This is not how we're conditioned. It's not how we're socialized. It's not how we're scripted. And so when we are raising boys alone without fathers, we teach them to think like women. This is why we have so many feminine men who have a problem with providing, okay? Because they don't even have... I was talking to this guy friend of mine, and he's in his 40s, and he was like, Chengi, this is the first time in my life, because he was raised by women, nothing but women. He said, because I had to explain to him, right? And he was like, I wish I had been taught these things, but nobody told me. Now I'm in my 40s and I've built my life like a woman, okay? And he was one of these guys who's on the internet yelling, screaming, and shouting at women, right? But when I was able to sit down with him and explain to him, like I do with men when they're not yelling at me, right? That actually we as women didn't raise you right. You were supposed to be raised to think this way. And if you had, because he's an attractive man, he's got but he's a woman, and he was willing to say, yeah, I think like a woman. And he was looking for a woman who would, who would come build with him. He was looking for a woman that would help him, right? Because that's what he had. He didn't realize he has to be able to stand on his own 2 feet, hold his ground as a man, and invite somebody into that lifestyle, whatever that is. And then together they can amplify what he's built, right? So a lot of men fall in his category, and they don't have that understanding or that teaching. But let's assume that they do, and that he's built himself to that place and stage where he genuinely has built something that he's proud of, that he's now ready to expand and to invite. So we, as women, when a man is proposing to marry us, he is inviting us into his life, okay? This is why, ladies, we can't be ring crazy, because if a man's life don't make sense, you got no business in it, okay? His life has to make sense. So, this video is not about why women marry. Maybe we should do that one, who you should marry, okay? This is really about his process. So he is looking for somebody who will come into his world and make his life easier, not harder. Okay? Not harder, not more complicated, not more chaos, not more drama, not more demands, but somebody who will make his life easier, take the weight off, take the load off. Okay. Now, we can have a ton of commentary around that. Like I said, he has to be a healthy man with a heart that's healed, capable of providing emotional, spiritual support, capable of being the man that a woman's soul needs. All right. So who's he gonna marry? He's gotta be ready. He's gotta be ready to marry. Okay. Dealt with his trauma, dealing with his trauma, understanding what a woman needs. This is a man that is ready to marry. The one thing he's gonna look for is virtue in his wife. Men don't care about virtue if they just want to shag you. Okay? Sleep with you. Sorry. I need to be careful with my British lingo. If a man just wants to sleep with you, honestly, he doesn't care what your body count is. He doesn't care where you've been and who you've been with. He just wants to get some action too. When a man wants to marry, when he's marriage ready, he is going to be looking for a woman that has virtue. Now, I did not say virginity, okay? I didn't say that. Now, some of these red pill, I don't want to call God's people names, fill in the blanks, men will all but asking for virginity out here in these streets. And if you're not a virgin, you don't deserve love, respect, or marriage, okay? So we're going to ignore those. I'm not going to call God's people names. People, and we're going to focus on a healthy, healed, good, marriage-ready, marriage-suitable man. He's not going to come asking about your body count to figure out whether you're a virtuous woman or not. Excuse me. He is going to be looking at how you move in the world. And most importantly, how you move with him sexually. If you are out here having one-night stands and doing what you want to do you, boo? Okay. This girl here is not sent to judge, okay? I'm just here to just let you know what the what is. I know you can be told by feminism or whatever, whoever you want to believe. Oh, women can do what men can do, blah, 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 blah. Go ahead, darling. Go ahead and do that. However, if you want to get married, virtue is very important. What is it? It's a woman that has sexual selectiveness. A woman that doesn't allow herself to just be touched and her body to just be used for a man's pleasure. Yes, for those of you who are sitting there rolling their eyes at me, I know none of you are on this call, but probably in the replay. Oh, I know my friend, she married the guy she had a one-night stand with. That is the exception, not the rule. Okay? Good. It is very possible that a man can have a one-night stand with you. And if you're really smart and you're really wise and you know how to move, he can marry you. But 99.9% of women don't even know how to move and be wise and act the right ways in order to get this man to build attraction after. Let's be honest. Only people like myself and certain people can know what one would have to do. The majority that I'm talking to, you have no clue. But when you show a man that you have no sexual selectiveness, that access to your body is free, cheap, readily available, he's going to jump on that, enjoy the moment, but he is not going to consider you viable for a position in his life as a wife. Why? Because men are biologically, psychologically wired. Here's the reality. Maternity is never in question. The mother of a child is never in question. At least these days, because the world is changing into weird and wonderful ways. But the maternity of a child, never in question. Nobody questions that I am the mother of my son. Okay? Paternity, however, is not always clear or certain. A lot of us girls, right, we can't always, a man cannot always clarify paternity unless he has a paternity test. So the need for virtue has more to do with paternity certainty. Okay. A man wants to, by and large, and this is the evolutionary brain, this is the primitive brain, he wants to by and large be able to be with a woman that he reckons, okay, he reckons she's likely to allow me to father all the kids. Okay, she's likely, her behavior, her manner, the way she lives is likely to create a bit of paternity certainty. All right? So this is why it's important. Not so that they can go off and tell women how to manage their sexuality. Well, some want to do that, but I'm not talking about that guy. They're doing it because they want to be able to at least guarantee paternity. This is why it's important. This is why the women that they will sleep with and the women that they'll marry are different. And this is why a man can be passionate about the woman he sleeps with, but because he's not sure, because her lifestyle, the way she shows up in the world, doesn't give him this sense of certainty about paternity, she's not going to be a selection for him. Okay? He would rather go for the woman he doesn't have that much passion or that much love for, but she moves in a certain way. She has a certain virtue about her. There's a sense of, yeah, she's got an integrity and she's got an honesty. She's not on these streets. She's not for these streets. She's not about these streets. She kind of has purpose. She has a sense of self-worth and self-confidence, and she carries herself like she matters. You know, she has this self-respect. So he's going to choose her even if his heart is not like, even though he can sleep at night, like he's not in love with her, he can still choose her. Because at this point, like I said, men who are not in andropause are making logical and sensible decisions about who they will marry. They're not choosing from their heart. Men after andropause, perimenopause, they're choosing from the heart. They're the ones who want that emotional companionship because their bodies are changing. Their progesterone levels are going up. Their testosterone is going down. They're becoming more female. Okay? So when we're talking about men who marry women they don't love, this is why. A woman I love, but I can never assure my paternity because she's already on these streets. But we get on, we vibe, we have a connection. The sex is mind-blowing. This one's all right, you know. She's pretty enough, nice enough, but she's not for these streets. She's that kind of woman. She's about her business. She knows her value. She knows her worth. I really, really love this one. He's going to go for this one. Okay? Good. Secondly, he's going to choose the woman that his mother approves of. Okay? She's gorgeous. She's sexy. She's amazing. She's more like mom. Okay? She's more, if mom is domesticated, stay-home mom, cleans, cooks, we're going for mom, okay? If mom is a career woman, go get her, go do that thing. And she's a lovely, domesticated, sweet little thing. But she doesn't give the mom vibration. We're going to go for mom, okay? A man's connection to his mother is the same connection a woman has to her father. They're the first... I am the first woman my son has ever loved. I am obsessed with being a good boy mom. I read every book about raising boys. Okay. If I'd had a girl, I'd have read everything about raising girls. And my son goes on a date and he comes back to me and he's like, Mom, like, she didn't even have any makeup on. Like, she didn't even try. And I kind of laughed. because I knew why. Because he's been raised by a woman who wears makeup and does her nails and does her hair, and I'm that girl. So for him, he thinks every woman should, right? So he has a hard time with that. Nothing wrong with the girl. He's just been raised by a woman who does. So when he shows me the kind of girls he likes, they're similar looking to me. They're different races, different, but they're similar, wear their hair long, makeup, hair, glamorous. Okay. I didn't teach him to be that way. It's what I modeled for him. It's what I modeled. So the chances of him going for a natural girl, who's all natural, no makeup, it's going to be very slim. But he also cares about what I think about his mate more than he cares about what his dad thinks about his mate. Okay. It's just the way that it is. In the same way as a girl, I'm more concerned about what my dad thinks about the man I'm bringing home than what my mom thinks. Okay. So I'll tell you a story. I had a client client stroke friend. She's dating this guy. They were so in love. And he was perfect. He was in every way perfect, ticked every box. She was in every way perfect, ticked every box. And so she takes him home to her dad to introduce him to her dad. And she says, this is the guy I'm dating. Him and the dad get on like a house on fire. They really, his dad is like, he's a great guy. But when he leaves, this client friend says to her dad, so what do you think, Dad? And her dad said, he loves you very much, but he's not going to marry you. And she said, why? And he said, because he's not able to take you to his mother. You will not be perfectly matched to his mother. Now his mother, he came from a more village, more rural background. She comes from a more private school, elevated suburban life. But because he came from, that rural background, made something of himself, and now he can access a woman who he wouldn't have ordinarily been able to access. He knows taking her home to mom, they have no way of actually getting on. The worst nightmare for a man is when the two women that he loves cannot stand each other. It just makes his life complicated. You know what I said earlier about easy? So I've got a reel coming up soon that check out his mama, okay? I had a personal situation that was very much the same. And that relationship ended. The moment I met mom and mom met me, okay, I knew that was the end of that story. All right. Because when I showed up to meet my future mother-in-law, she was wearing a tiny, teeny little skirt and a teeny little broad top, and she was a party girl. Okay. And she was out here on these streets. And I was, dressed in my elegant self, and we just looked at each other, and I knew that this was, yeah. And ultimately that relationship ended because of her. All right. So from personal experience and from my client's experience and from observation and learning, it's important that a man will choose the woman that, and I've spoken to different men from different cultures. This is so important. It's even more important in many Asian cultures, African cultures. And the story I told you earlier, he actually went and married another woman. And this friend of mine found out through another friend when she was just going about her business. Oh, you went at the wedding. How come you went at the wedding? That's when she realized that her then boyfriend had actually married some other woman who was definitely mother friendly, who was from the same area, who had the same background as mom. It's just going to make his life easy. Am I saying this is correct? Am I saying this should be done? I'm not judge and jury. I'm just giving you facts. Okay? So he is going to choose the woman that gets on best with mom, who is aligned with mom, if you are higher status than mom, we're going to have a problem. Okay? If you're lower status than mom, we are going to have a problem. I have seen this time and time and time and time again. Very few men will defy mom for a woman to marry, especially if these men have options. Okay. Somebody said, what if his mom has passed? Who should you look to? Just look to the women in his life. Sisters, aunties. Yeah. So, but if he doesn't have his mom to disappoint by bringing this type of girl home, you're probably okay. Depending on the relationship he has with his sisters. Some sisters are actually worse than the mom. Some sisters are actually worse. Some sisters will enforce the choice and have more of a voice, depending on how the dynamic was, especially if they raised him. So he's going to choose that, regardless of whether he loves that woman or not, okay? The next point is he's going to choose a woman, and this is where things get a little bit dodgy. All right. A lot of men want a woman that's agreeable. That's going to, remember what I said earlier? He's built this life. He's recruiting for that life. And what he wants is somebody who's going to kind of follow the lead, which is why when we're selecting a man, we have to be like, would I follow him? Would I gladly follow him? If the answer is no, why are you dating him? And why are you even considering marrying him? Right? We should be looking to look at all of these things and say, okay, do I like his lifestyle? Do I like the way he moves in the world? Do I like what he stands for? It's our job to assess what a man is bringing and decide whether we want to be part of it or not. But if we decide we want to be part of it and want to get on board, then he's going to be looking to see who is it that is going to collaborate with me, who is going to cooperate, who is going to fall back when we can't seem to agree. All right. You might be the most intelligent, the smartest, the wisest woman he's ever met and be totally, totally, totally in love with you. But if he feels that you're gonna be always challenging him and questioning him and imposing your will and stamping your feet and throwing tantrums, he will choose the one that's going to be a little bit more agreeable. Am I saying it's right or wrong? No, I'm not here to be judge and jury. I'm just letting you know the uncomfortable truths. Am I saying you should shut up and listen and do as you're told? No, because I'm not a shut up and listen girl. Okay? I like to collaborate with my man, and I like him to feel that my point of view is very important, but I'm also capable of allowing him to make that final decision if it's not going to be harmful, if it's not illegal, unethical, or immoral. I'm okay with him making some mistakes and taking the lead, because the one who makes a decision has to take responsibility for when it goes pear-shaped. And I'm never really the one who wants to do that. So, I'm okay with that. But I would rather we collaborate, okay? And a mature man is going to collaborate. But by and large, I'm not going to force my will on anyone. But some of us, that's how we're built. Unless somebody does things our way, is highway, my way or the highway, this is going to be problematic. Hello. House of Swans. Yes, that's coming in November. I'm so excited. Okay. So a man could very well leave a very intelligent, resourceful, smart, successful, beautiful woman for miscompliant. Now, I think it's to his demise. Okay. But we're going for easy. Life is hard. I'm creating easy. Life is hard. I'm creating easy, right? follow if you can. So a lot of women who are wonderful get ditched for a woman who is probably less than you, because that woman's probably prepared to tolerate a lot more BS, probably more willing to accept a lot of rubbish. So some of these men, let them have them. Like some of the guys that are rejecting us and marrying somebody else, let them go, okay? Because really they just want somebody to tolerate their BS. They just want somebody to tolerate their nonsense. A woman that's weak-minded, that's going to overlook their alternate lifestyle, i.e. dating other women whilst they're married. A man will pick that than this. But then there's also the healthier type where he's not necessarily going because she's weak-minded or let him get away with crap, but she's more collaborative. She's more willing to sit and discuss calmly. Okay? And this is a quality that a high value feminine woman brings, is the ability to negotiate and have a calm discussion, make her contribution known, her feelings known in such a way that it's still respectful. He would choose that over and above anything 3 bags full, sir. But if it's gonna be Miss Cantankerous, fight about everything all the time, or Miss Agreeable. I love Miss Cantankerous because the sex is amazing. When we get on, it's really good. But this one is a bit more comfortable, safer. Okay. Last but not least, and it's not last, the list can go on, but I'm not trying to be here for the next 3 hours. Okay. And I also want to give you an opportunity to ask questions. So number 5, and this is something that a lot of us don't realize. A man is going to choose a woman who potentially will be a good mother to his children. I know that a lot of us believe that men don't care about children, that it's only us who want to have kids because we've got the biological clock and we have, this maternal desire. Not all of us, but those who do, because I'm not speaking for all women and I'm not speaking for all men. But I'm the majority. So we think that being mothers is a higher priority to us than it is to men. But actually, believe it or not, men really do care about their children. And they really want a good mom for their kids. Something that I feel we don't do well as women. I feel like we want someone for ourselves that we don't care what kind of father they're going to be. I feel like when I speak to women and I'm coaching women and I'm having conversations with women and they're holding on to this loser who is mean and he lacks generosity and he is unkind and he has good days and bad days, and when it's good is good and when it's bad is bad, and they're like, maybe we can work on it. I think maybe you can work on it because you are a grown woman, but do you want to bring a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old into this man's life? I think a lot of us women are very selfish when it comes to choosing a mate because we're thinking about ourselves. Does he make me happy? Does he make me feel like a woman? Does he treat me good? Does he take me places? Da, 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 da. But if he's not kind to you and consistent with you and generous with you and thoughtful with you, he will not be that to your children. Your children are going to have to deal with what you're having to deal with at 30-something. They don't even have the emotional, mental capacity. All children are born for is love. The only thing a child really has capacity for is to receive love. And you're bringing them into this man's home. And this is why so many of us have so much trauma, because our mothers didn't choose our fathers as good dads. They weren't thinking about the fathers they would become. And when mothers were thinking about how happy they would be and how sexy and how they could show off to their friends about, look at my ring, right? And I'm not saying all our mothers, but we have so much trauma because so many women don't think the way men think. Men are going to think, and I'm not talking about every guy, but I'm talking about the men we're talking about here, okay? The Black Swan Kings. They're going to think, is this woman going to be a good mother to my children? Is she going to be able to help with the homework? Is she organized enough to, because, you gotta be smart, right? To help kids with the homework. Is she organized? Is she together? Is she nurturing? Is she sweet? Is she kind? Is she gonna be a good mom? And sometimes girl here is fun and sexy and whoo-hoo, okay? She knows how to give a man a good time on every level, okay? But she's irresponsible. She's not very nurturing. She swears like a sailor, drinks like a fish, can drink any man under the table. She's a good time, but his assessing, that's not going to be great material for mothering. He needs a little bit more discipline, a bit more nurturing, okay? So this is why this girl will get the ring, because guess what? She's more nurturing. She's a better candidate for mom, okay? His heart, his affections, his passion are over here, okay? That's why when we're saying to you girls, stop freaking performing for men like a circus monkey, because some of us are signing up for this girl here, the fun time girl only, right? Because we're just trying to let him know that we know how to have a good time and we know how to have a party, okay? That's very good, but don't get your heart broken when he goes choosing this girl here. Now, do either women win? You choose who's winning. The one who's being chosen because she simply meets the criteria? Because she's going to be in a relationship with a man whose heart is not with her. She's going to feel used. She's going to feel some kind of way. Eventually. So, who's really winning? Okay, I got the ring, I got the dress, I got the wedding, I got the pictures, I got the house, I've got the MRS, I've got all of these things going on, but I am here for utility. If she's happy with that, she wins, okay? If she understands the contract, like we said in the video in our live last week, if she understands the contract, if she knows I am being chosen for marriage because of these qualities, and I'm good with it as long as I get these needs met, there's nothing wrong with that. That's an agreement between two adults. That's a contract. That's a marriage, right? Maybe the other girl might say, well, good riddance. And maybe she's won because she gets to keep her authentic self. She gets to keep her authentic life. She gets to do what's right for her and wait for the person who's compatible. So maybe she wins. But what about the girl in the middle? How do we meet in the middle? How do we become the kind of woman that a man is more likely to marry? And we're not talking about any man, but the kind of man that we described it earlier on. How do I become her without being inauthentic, without self-abandoning, without self-abandoning? That's the Black Swan journey. That's the Black Swan journey for you. Who are you? Authentically. The journey within yourself, the journey into yourself. And I want you to know that a Black Swan is every woman. Okay? The Black Swan is every woman. She's the combination of both these girls in different variations. She's hella sexy. She's fun. She's carefree. She's playful. She's respecting. She's effervescent. She is a dream. But she's also virtuous, noble, nurturing, has integrity, is grounded. That's the Black Swan journey. That's the Black Swan experience. And this woman is going to be off the market like this. Like all my brides who take the Black Swan journey. Okay? She's going to be off the market very quickly. And she is the one that's going to have a man's love. She's going to be the one that has a man's affection. So yes, there are men who marry for love, but it's a specific type of woman that gets married for love. And that's a journey, because some of us are way to the left or way to the right. And I'm here to teach you how to be in the middle. I'm here to teach you to be fully in your feminine. Because the one in the left, she's in her dark feminine all the time. The one in the right is in her light feminine all the time. To be fully feminine is to be in your light and dark feminine energy. To be fully feminine is to be able to switch on your sensuality, your sexuality, your fun, your darker side. And to be fully feminine is to be able to switch on your light and more playful and innocent side. Because as women, we're born with both. To be fully in your feminine is really the embracing of your womanhood on a whole different level. So how do I know he loves me? How do I know I am a loved woman? I'm a loved wife. How do I know? Number one, he sacrifices. The one sign, probably the most important sign, is that a man will make us, the man, when he loves you, he will sacrifice for you. When he loves you, he will sacrifice his sleep. He will sacrifice his wants, his needs, a man, when a man loves, he sacrifices. If you are too much to love and is too much to give and too much to provide, he doesn't love you. If you have to work your butt off for your husband or your future husband to see you, he does not love you. A man who loves you will sacrifice for you. He will sacrifice time. He will sacrifice money. He will sacrifice some of his own needs. And some of us are out here letting him even be inconsistent and thinking one day he's going to marry you. He's not even prepared to discipline himself around the dating process. And you think a ring is going to make him sacrifice? He's selfless. When a man loves you, he is selfless. He puts you, your needs, the needs of your needs first. Not by self-abandoning, but by honoring and giving. When a man loves you, he's selfless. He's selfless in the bedroom. He's selfless out of the bedroom. He's selfless in everything he does. When a man loves you, he promotes you and you flourish. He waters you. He'll take you. He wants to see you be better, do better. When a man loves you, he wants you to be doing better than when he first met you. Yes, married 18 years before divorce, and he was always unwilling to sacrifice for me. I was always trying to be seen and beg for his time. Spot on, yeah. When a man loves you, you will flourish. Everybody who sees you is going to be like, whoa, you look amazing. What's happened? When a man loves you, whatever hobbies, whatever any gift that was on the inside of you, he's going to want that to come out. When a man loves me, he's going to want me to do even better, reach more swans. He's going to put his strength behind me. He's going to want to water me. He's going to be like, okay, I know you've done 1 million by yourself, but I'm going to get behind you and we're going to get to those 1 billion. Okay. He's going to see that. He's going to see my potential and water it, protect it, provide for it. When a man loves you, you flourish. You do not diminish. And so many marriages have women that are diminishing. You marry a man, you see the woman later on, and she looks like death warmed up. I was married for 13 years. And my ex was older than me by 2 years, but everybody thought I was older than him. I looked old. I was old. I was overweight. I have had worst health. I had terrible health. My doctors thought I had bowel cancer. I was depleted. If I show you the me, I don't even have pictures of me when I was married because I used to avoid the camera. I was in a terrible state of, I looked older, it was horrible. Okay. Some of us, that's our story. I don't want that to be your story. That's why I do what I do, because I don't want your beautiful, beautiful soul to ever have to go through what I went through. I don't hate men. I love them with all my heart. And I'm never going to teach you to hate men. But I am always going to teach you how to avoid men that are going to break you. I will do that. And I don't care how angry men get at me, because I know they're men that will build you. I know that because my brides marry men. The girls that have got married through my academy, they have gone on and created new careers. They are flourishing. I met one of my other brides. She came to London and we had dinner, and oh my, she's flourishing. That's what I want for you. And you can only get that when a man loves you. When a man loves a woman, she flourishes. Okay? If you're not flourishing and you're dating him and you're looking battered and tired and sick and you've been dating this guy for however, what makes you think he's going to be a good husband? If he's not pouring into you, you know, when a man loves you, he doesn't want you to walk around unprotected. All these 5-year engagements, 1,000-year engagements, 100-year engagements that you people are entertaining. Do you know when a man loves you, he wants to cover you? When a man loves you, he wants to bring you under his protection. When a man loves you, you don't have to ask him for anything because he already sees. When a man loves you, he doesn't need you to, he will see just in the look on your face that something's not right. And he will preempt. When a man loves you, he cares about how you make it through the day. He cares about how you woke up in the morning. That you even woke up in the morning. He cares. All this having to ask men for money that I totally don't agree with is so classless. It lacks elegance and poise. Ugh. You only have to ask a man for money and look for men who will spend on you. This is not this community, because we're high value women. Because you've never met a man that loves you. You've never met a man that wants you. Because when a man loves you and a man wants you, you don't have to ask him. He is going to always have something for you. Always have an experience for you. Always have gifts for you. Always. He's just going to pour into you. We only have to finesse men because we haven't learned to become the kind of women that we love. And who men love because we love ourselves. Right? So that's the sign that he loves you, is that you flourish. He shows up front and center. He's a pillar in your world. right? You're not looking for him in the middle of crisis. Uh-oh, I hope this is not me being told my meeting is ready. He's not, where is he to be found in the middle of crisis? Nowhere. Okay? And last but not least, he will never jeopardize the connection. When a man loves you, he will not jeopardize your connection. He won't do anything that would potentially jeopardize the connection. He won't go sleeping around or deliberately and intentionally go and be hunting women down like he's a single man. Like a lot of these men. Because the idea of losing you will be awful to him. Because when he's found the bone of his bone and the flesh of his flesh, when he's found the woman, listen, there's such an amazing special connection that a man and woman can have that is so profound and so prolific. But we have to show up at the station. We have to show up at that place fully authentic, having worked on ourselves, having loved ourselves, and being smart, okay? Be smart so that you can create an authentic, genuine connection that creates this love that we're talking about. If not, you're going to fall into one of the categories and then you're going to have a story that I don't want to tell. You're not going to have the Black Swan story. I want you to have the Black Swan story. I want you to join all my beautifully married brides and all the women in beautiful relationships that send me their stories and send me their pictures and telling me all these beautiful things about what the men are doing. Because you have to be fully in your feminine. And that is your Black Swan journey. I'm going to take some questions now. Maybe an ignorant question, but is this the same for alpha men? I'm not sure. Is this what the same? Is what the same? I'm sorry, darling. I don't understand. Now, in some instances, there's just no winning. Because maybe the woman that he has that connection with, who is in every way perfect, is from the wrong tribe, culture, religion, and it's going to be problematic. Sometimes she's the wrong age. There are men that fall in love with women that are much older and they can't reconcile it, or much younger. Maybe they fall in love with somebody of the same sex and that can never be accepted. There's so many reasons that, a man can marry because, he's just gonna, no matter what you do as a woman, if he's gay, he's never gonna love you, no matter what you do, even if you're fully in your feminine. So there are some lose situations and ways, obviously, of mitigating that if we date properly. But that's just lifing, right? Do me a favor, Sunkiss babe. Just write your question in full so that I can understand it, because I'm having a hard time piecing it together. It might not be you, it might just be me. Any questions? Oh, somebody wants to come on live with me. Now, if I accept you, you better come on live and not do. Would a guy ask for money in 2 years like to borrow? Would a guy borrow money after 2 years? What if he loves you? Would he borrow money if he loves you? Or what? Look, as a rule, a woman shouldn't give a man money unless she's married to him. Or he's an orphan and there's just nothing else and he's going to die today in the next minute. I mean, I don't know what circumstances would have to be there, but giving a man money, is he 16? Is he underage? Um, a man should be too proud to ask for money from a woman. Good. You let him go so that he can get his priorities straight. Yeah, it's okay. Look, girls, don't let this world guilt you into accepting half-baked, because half-baked is an easy way to have your time wasted. Because once you finish working with Mr. Half-Baked, he's gonna go and find the woman he really wants. I've already told you what love looks like. I've already told you everything I'm going to tell you about this. We can decide that we have special circumstances, and we want to be the exception to the rule, but I said what I said. It's up to you to ask yourself what you feel you deserve. And remember, if you don't believe that these men exist, you're never going to meet them, because we have a cognitive bias towards our beliefs. So if I don't believe that there's a man who has got his act together, whose life is in order, who's built a life he loves, that he wants to invite me into, if I don't believe that to be the case, then all I'm going to see are the men that don't have their lives together. And I'm going to feel like, oh, is it really realistic? Now, can we just accept that I'm talking about a certain bracket? Obviously, if you're dating and you're 18, 19, 20, or you're under 25, the rules are different. You know, you still need him to provide in a certain way, but he's not going to have his life together. Okay. A man under 30 is not going to have his life together. He's still figuring out his life. Okay. But if a man is 30 and over and he hasn't got a plan, he hasn't created anything, he's still, that man spent his 20s shagging. That's what he did. If a man in his 30s and he has no situation going on that makes sense to any woman, he spent his 20s chasing after women and sleeping with them. And you are not going to be the compensation plan. The feminine engineer, I love that. I'm being pursued by a divorced man. He's an ex-colleague. And when he was married, he was interested in me, but never proposed. But I was open about not entertaining the married. Now I'm uncomfortable. Well, if he's divorced, that makes him officially single. And if you guys did not entertain any kind of situation, and if he's been divorced for about 2 years or separated and divorced and everything kind of happened within the 2-year period, depending on the circumstances of the separation. Okay. So you don't want to be with a man who hasn't been away from his partner for 2 years, from his ex-wife for 2 years in total. If you want to date him, why don't you just put him in your rotation? If you don't, let him go. I mean, you don't have to. I don't understand. Do you feel beholden to him in some way? Hey Chengi, since following you, I've realized so many simple mistakes that I'm making. I'm reconditioning my thought process. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy that I was able to do that for you. Would you say it's a lot harder to meet a marriage ready man as a single mother? No. You know, life works on the principle of energy. You know, everything is energy. I am energy, and what you were looking at and seeing through the screen is low vibrational energy. That's why you can see my body, because it's vibrating at a lower frequency than my mind, than my spirit, than my soul. Okay, but it's all energy. My chair, the sofa I'm sitting on, is energy. And how we move and manipulate energy is really in the way we think and the way we feel. And I've got a whole masterclass called the Energy Mastery Masterclass, where I go into depth, hours and hours of understanding energy, aka spirit, if it makes you feel better. For the church girls, spirit. You can call it spirit if it makes you feel better. Everything is spirit, or everything is energy. Now, if this is what the Bible says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Because transformation, when you transform energy, you transform it through thought. And not just the thoughts that cross your mind, but the way you think, your paradigm, your mentality, your mindset. That's energy. And our thoughts are electric energy. You've heard of the electromagnetic pulse, electromagnetic. So how we think about the world, how we perceive the world, the mindset we have, the mentality we have, is creating this energetic charge, right? That's going to go out into the world. And then how we feel about ourselves is creating this magnetic charge. Now, the way you think affects how you feel. So life is always bringing to you how you think and how you feel, okay? If I am conditioned, scripted, or truly believe within my heart for whatever reason that as a single mom, I can't access marriage-minded men, that's what you're going to get. You will never meet marriage-minded men. I have single moms that are married. Marriage-minded men exist on a plane of vibrational frequency. And so what frequency are you on, right? So go get the Energy Mastery Masterclass in the Black Swan Relationship Academy. And if you use the coupon code BLACK40, you can get it for 40% off. So the answer is no, it's not harder. But it is harder if mentally you think it is harder. If you believe it is harder, it will be harder. What does it mean if a guy says your potential wife, can it be used as manipulation tactic? And you're right, he's 25, but as most qualities you mentioned today. That's amazing. What does it mean if a guy says your potential wife? Well, if he's under 25 and is not marriage ready, then he's saying, if I were in a position to marry you, you would be the one that I would potentially want to marry. So that's a compliment. However, if he's just out here in these streets You met him at some party, some club. It's like, oh, you're like a wife. A lot of men now use the whole wife, marry you thing as a game to, especially when they want to play good women. When they know that you're a woman with standards and you show up as a woman with standards, and they know that you're way too good for them and you wouldn't entertain them any other way, they're going to throw the M word in your face, the wife word in your face. So we've got to be really careful with that. What's really important to me is focus on the energy behind it and then watch the words. And if you date like a black swan, if you move like a black swan, a lot of it is dealt with by just how we show up in the world, the way we conduct ourselves, the way we show up, the things we accept, the boundaries we set. Most time wasters, losers, and manipulators cannot stand the heat in the kitchen of a black swan. If you're out here trying to play games on me and trying to be funny, you won't even survive a day or two, because the standard that I hold myself to and what I'm going to require of you, players, time wasters, losers, and manipulators, they can't meet that standard. And those are the standards that I teach here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy. Well, I hope that your 25-year-old guy gets his act together and comes back to claim you when he's ready. Would you get with a healthy, confident man who could provide a great lifestyle but gave you the ick whenever he tried to flirt or hold your hand due to lack of physical attraction? Ew. No. For me personally, no. You know, there are two things about physical attraction, maybe a few, but I'm only going to talk about two. Sometimes physical attraction has to do with our conditioning, our wiring, our programming. So sometimes we don't find people attractive who are attractive because we have woundedness, we have a story, an unconscious belief about certain types of men, okay? You know, he's got to be tall, he's got to be whatever we you know, little blocks in our thinking that then create blocks in our attraction to certain men, okay? This is really real problem in the 21st century, more than probably any other generation. But then there's the other part of attraction that is to do with feminine energy. That other part that the body knows that the person is not right. And I think I spoke about in my last live about this, about the pheromones, okay? But I'm not talking about that at this point. I'm talking about the feminine body. When you're in your feminine essence and you're in your actual body, your feminine essence, sometimes you just don't like a guy and you don't know why. Like, nothing wrong with him, but something doesn't feel right. I just don't. And if you speak to enough people, you will realize, especially women, I didn't like him, but I gave him a chance, and I didn't really like him, but I gave him a chance, and then he ended up being a moron and a predator and something horrible, right? Because sometimes we force our bodies to like somebody, or we will have a drink and you know, we'll get ourselves drunk, or we will find a way to bypass nature encoded in the woman's body, in the feminine body, especially when we tune into our feminine energy, because being feminine really requires living in your body. And the reason we don't live in our bodies is because we store trauma and pain and suffering in our body. And so as women, when we're wounded, we tend to leave the body and treat it the way almost men treat their bodies, right? As an instrument of pleasure, or, you know, when we're in our bodies, we become conscious and aware of the inner world, because the feminine world exists within the woman, it doesn't exist outside of the woman. The masculine world exists outside of the man. That's why he builds things and kind of builds and creates and puts things in the world. right? Because the masculine world is outside of us and the feminine world dwells within us. So when you're in your body, sometimes this, so for me, if I meet a guy, I don't care what he's got to offer me. If my body doesn't like him, there's usually something wrong with him. I don't take physical attraction as a lust principle all the time. Um, Physical attraction has a lot to say about the safety of somebody. But I would definitely go on at least 3 dates. Unless they totally disgust me, I would at least go on 3 dates to see if I get more information, like feel more information. Navigate, I navigate the world, especially when it comes to relationship, through my heart, because when your heart is healing and full of you and full of your truth and your authenticity, it's easier to navigate the world than trying to do it up here, because the brain is not always the best. The mind isn't always as competent as the body, because within the body is your instincts. Why would a guy over 30 send an unsolicited video of his package without asking for it? Are men still doing this stuff? Oh dear. He's immature. And he's signaling that he just wants, that this is a sexual, he wants to engage you sexually and nothing else. But he's an immature man for sure. Ridiculous. I'll block and delete him the moment. I don't think I've had him. I haven't had that happen to me in so long. I didn't even realize men still did that. You're so welcome. I'll allow him to first refine his world as he's been doing therapy. I'm proud of him, and I'm very proud of you. If a guy asks, "Are you dating others?" what's the best way to respond? Are you to inform him that you are? If a man says, "Are you dating others?" you would tell him the truth. Yes, I'm enjoying getting to know other people. Say matter of factly, and then say, "Aren't you?" Because I'll be damned if I meet a man who's just dating me. Like, he has nobody else on his phone, nobody else on his radar, nobody else. I'll be damned. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's not how men are. It's not how they roll. So to say matter of factly, yes, I'm enjoying getting to know other people, aren't you? Okay. And no, we don't have to go and say, by the way, I just need you to know that I'm dating other people. Like, we don't need to lead with that. But if it's important, most mature men know you're dating other people. They know that, and they will happily engage in the competition to win your heart. If they don't have the means to compete or the wherewithal to compete, they're going to have a problem with it. Okay. But I'm a may the best man win kind of girl. There are kids involved. Yeah, let him get himself sorted. I will save the life for you, Amy. I recently started practicing living in my body and connecting with how I am truly feeling. And it's amazing what I've discovered. I love that. That's given me Mama Swan goosebumps. Thank you, beautiful. You are so welcome. And thank you for the compliment. Wow, that brings us to the end of today's live. It has been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure spending time with you. And I'll be back next week to talk about something else. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about. Maybe send me a DM. Say, Chengi, can we talk about this, please? But yes, chances are I'll probably be discussing one of the reels that are going viral, and maybe expanding so that we get understanding Okay, because reels are lovely, fun things for me to create. I have so much fun creating reels. I wish I'd done it. I started doing it earlier, but I also understand that I make a very strong statements in my reels, and sometimes they need explaining. Okay, so that's why I have the lives, so that I can explain some of the things I'm saying, so we really know how to use the tools and we don't get angry and provoked to rage when I tell you certain things about the reality of men. It's not to anger you, it's to help you position yourself to win with men. If assuming that everybody here loves men the way I do. You didn't answer my question. Sorry, my darling. Let me see if I can find it. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. I can't seem to find your question. Forgive me. Is it maybe earlier on? I'm so sorry. Hang on. Let's see if I can find your question. I'm so sorry, darling. If you ask your question whilst I am speaking, I'm going to miss it. Because I'm terrible at getting distracted. I cannot seem to find it. Lotte underscore MD says, thanks, you're spot on your analysis of us guys. Thank you, sir. Honey, I cannot find your question, but I definitely have to go. Send me a DM and I will see to it. Or you can wait for my next live or whatever. I will get back to you. Just, I'm so sorry. I can't find it. But for the rest of us, thank you so much for joining me. I love you to bits and pieces and I gotta go. Bye.